I'm really excited to share my daily December album making with you. I'm starting today and I'm going to use all of these great products from Teresa Collins Studios. I like to create my album by making a page for every day in December all the way through the 31st. Some people stop with Christmas and that's totally fine, but I really like to include all those great stories that happen in between Christmas and New Year's also. It's a fun project to make and to create ahead of time. I like to put down the foundations and the pages in November so that I have a album that I can add pictures and stories to, and sometimes some more little memorabilia during December. But by getting this done ahead of time, then I don't have all the pages that I have to make during the month of December, which is really nice because, as we all know, that's a really busy month. So I'm gonna start with this Wanderlust album from Teresa Collins, and it is a 3-ring binder album, and I'm gonna put pages in here that are 6 by 8. And I just counted them up, and I figured that I need 32 pages in here to have a little spread for each one of the days of December. So I'm going to get started on that, and I'm going to show you the papers that I'm going to be using. The papers here are from the Evergreen collection, which is a really gorgeous green, white, and black. And so that it's a really fun new modern take on Christmas, and I'm excited to give this collection a try. And the other collection that I have is actually Teresa's 2019, it's called Christmas Story, and this one has some more traditional green and red, also with the black and white, and I think that that's fun because I usually decorate in the traditional green and red for Christmas in my house. So I wanted to show you some of these things. This collection has a couple different plaids, which I just love, and also has a traditional Santa and some trees. And then it mixes so nicely with the Evergreen collection. So I just wanted to show you these, and I'm going to start putting together and cutting out these papers. I'm not going to plan ahead which page is going to be next to each other. First, I'm going to cut them down so that all the pages that I need are 6 by 8, and then I will mix them together and come up with some different pages for the foundations, and then I'll show you what I do after that. But I'm going to start with the 6 by 8 page. I almost forgot that I'm also going to use some clear acetate papers in my Daily December album, and this set is a brand new set of all silver on clear acetate. There's hearts, stars, stripes, dots, and then there are just some clear sheets in here. One that I had ordered previously has larger dots on it, and this one I have black and gold and silver in this collection. So I might mix in some of these in my project too. So I chose the papers that I want to use in my album, and now I'm going to cut them down. Now, it depends on how the pattern goes on your pages, but pay attention to that in case you want your pattern to be oriented in a different way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these 12 by 12 pieces of scrapbook paper, and then plus this little extra strip down here along the bottom. I'm going to cut these because sometimes I like to save these. Like this one says, Santa, Santa, please stop here. I want to save these, and so I'm not going to cut them off right now. I'm just going to cut all of my paper down to 8 inches because that's how tall it's going to be in my album. Then I'm going to cut it 6 inches across. So each of these pages is going to make sheets of paper is going to make 2 pages in my album. So see, there's a 6-inch 6 by 8 piece, and then this ends up also a 6 by 8 piece. So then I'm going to have 2 pages here. But I just wanted to show you that because there's also this little strip left here, and I'm gonna save all these because these I can use as little edgers and cut them out for pieces of ephemera in my final album. So keep these. I'm gonna just sit them over here on the side, and I'm gonna cut all the rest of these, and I'll speed this part up so that you can see the pieces of paper, but you don't have to actually, you know. So for the cover, I chose a dark hunter green piece of cardstock that I had in my stash, and I cut it to 7 by 9. I'm going to attach it with the score tape, the tearable kind, like this. This is like the red tape, only you can actually tear this. And then I chose, this is one of my favorite patterns. I like how it has the shades of green and the red berries. And then these numbers are from a set, Signature Essentials number set, that Teresa has in her shop. So I'm going to attach these and maybe add a little bit, I'm thinking a little sparkly washi tape on there might be nice too. So let me give this a try and see how it turns out. to balance out the numbers here. I didn't get them exactly in the center. I just added washi tape on each side. I'm not much of a measurer. I just like things to look balanced, and so I used the ruler to get them as close to being in the center as I could, but then I realized that I actually made them in the center vertically, but not as much horizontally. But I do really like having a little bit of washi tape on the side to make it balance out, and I'm a big fan of using silver and gold together, and so that is the cover. And this album has some gold on the back, which is great. I might put numbers on there. It depends. I don't really keep these on a shelf, so I don't think people really have to see that, but if you do have a place to keep them on the shelf, then you might want to do that. So now I'm going to put together some of the inside pages. I had cut these to 6 by 8, and then I used a leftover piece of chipboard I kind of just laid it here, and then I punched holes, but I realized that the first time I punched the holes, then I put my chipboard in these rings and it was too close to the center. You wouldn't be able to lay 2 pages open. So I used and I'm using the crocodile, tool to make my holes. So I punched holes just a little bit closer, and then I held like 3 or 4 sheets of my paper up and used this as my guide for punching the holes, because I don't have a hole punch that matches up with these. So that's how I did that. And then I added in with my paper some of the clear acetate that's printed with silver. So here are the pages that I put together. Now I'm going to take these and put some numbers on them and some other fun little elements, and then I'm going to leave them so that in December I can make one little double page spread for each day. So I'll be back to show you what I did on those. I'm not going to do the sped up part here and follow exactly along. I'll just come back later and tell you what I did and what I used for the pages. Stay tuned. When you work with clear paper, it's always important to think about what's going to be on the next page or behind what you're working on, because you're going to be able to see through that paper. So for this page, I chose the clear paper with the silver hearts on it, and I'm going to use this little card, and that is cut from the Christmas story paper that has 12 cards on it. And I've decided to put it behind the acetate clear paper, and I'm going to put the adhesive, I'm going to mount the 6 on the front of this page with some of my score tape here, this really strong tape. And then I'm going to take the red Be Merry card, and I'm going to put the tape onto the clear paper. It's hard to explain sometimes. Onto the clear paper, so that the red Be Merry card is actually adhered to the clear hearts right behind the 6. And I'll probably also add a couple washi tapes so that I can use a little bit more tape, but all of my tape will be hidden, so you won't be able to tell or see it through this clear paper. So I'll show you that, and then I'll flip it over and I'll show you what I do on the other side of the page. I added the 6 and some washi tape to the front of the page, and then I added some of the score tape to the back so that you won't be able to see it, and then I can lay the card over it. So hold on just a second. So after peeling the protective layer off of the tape, then I take the card. The tape is on the back of the clear paper, so I'm going to line this up. I lined it up with my card with the corner of the paper, just because it's gonna be a lot easier to do this, and I try to take out as many things as possible to make it tougher. It's already hard because the paper is clear, So I wanted to hide the tape behind it. Now, this is what this page looks like. The page is the 6th page is going to have this behind it. So during Christmas, when I figure out what I'm going to put on these pages, I do need to think about that. So the picture for the 6th, it would be nice, I could put a square picture here, and then I could put a picture when I open this on my 7th day page. I could put a square picture or some other, a journal card or something like that here, because then it would be covered up. So you'd be able to see the trees, and you'd have something here, maybe a picture on this page and maybe a journal card on the back. I'll show you. Well, I don't have any cut out right this second. But just like this, let's say this is my journal card on the back. If I cut a picture this same size, oops, sorry, then I'll have a picture covering up some of my hearts here, but I'll be able to see these trees and things all around. And then when I open the page, it will come back this way, and then I can cover something with the same size here, like put pictures back to back, and put a journal card here. Then when I'm on page 6, I only see the picture that's on page 6, and when I flip it this way to look at day 7, I only see the picture here and the journal card here. So it's just something that you have to think about when you use this clear paper in an album. It probably doesn't really matter, necessarily if you have exactly the same thing, and maybe a picture or a journal card will peek out behind something else, and that's fine too. It's not something to be super worried about, but it is something to think about. Oh yeah, I'm using a clear page here, so on day 6, I'm going to have Santa over here and this, and then on day 7, when I flip the card over, I'm going to have something covering up Santa, and then Santa's going to peek out. So just think about that. Maybe do day 6 and day 7 together when you are creating your album. Oh, one more tip. Normally I use this VersaFine pigment ink. It's Onyx Black, and I've worked for Stamp Company before, and that's what they always use to get the clearest image on things that they stamp. But when you're using the clear, oops, I got trapped under here. When you're using the clear paper, Stays On is what I used. This is solvent ink, and so you can stamp anything. You cannot clean it off or fix it. I even tried on this because the stamp wasn't perfect, but it's not the end of the world. Just remember that when you stamp with Stays On the plastic, it's a little bit slippery. So you're just going to have one try. So I did practice. I'm trying to find the paper in my mess. Oh, this black paper here. You could stamp on here to try it. I actually took a piece of Teresa's packaging and stamped, I don't know if you can see that, a tree on here to see what it would look like. And then I could see that it wouldn't rub off. It made me feel better about stamping it on my clear page. So also with this date stamps don't typically come out perfectly. It's not covered perfectly. If you think about stamping that in your office on something that the stamp isn't always perfect, it's just kind of a fun little thing to use. You can use the regular size date stamps. I'm sure that a lot of people have something like that in their collection. I have a ton of those, and I love this big, huge one too. So I just decided to use that this time. I have a few more years left to have it be current. This one goes up to, gosh, 2026, I think. So yeah, so I can use it for a little while longer. But I just wanted to show you that. So Stays On solvent ink is what I use to stamp on the clear paper. And do practice, use some of the packaging to practice on to make sure that you can make the stamp clear without moving your hand a lot. Also, when you use stamps, the date stamp you might need to rock slightly, just be careful. But the regular stamps, regular acrylic stamps, you don't need to rock them. You just stamp them down, and I usually kind of tap with my finger around where the stamp is to make sure that all of the image has been transferred onto the paper. But if you rock a lot, it'll make the image have fuzzy lines. So that might be what's happening if you're getting fuzzy lines. So do practice some of that. I also practiced on page 5. I did white trees and black trees. So I tried the white here on this black paper first. So, all right, let me get back to it. So the foundation pages for my December 2020 album are finished and ready to share. I wanted to show you the cover again, just so that I could tell you a little bit about it. This is a travel album, like I mentioned before, from Teresa Collins, and it was white and it had a really pretty gold embossed map of the earth on it. But since I'm going to use it for my Christmas album, I wanted to cover that up, and I did that with a mixture of washi tape and die cuts and papers. So the papers that I'm using in this album are all from Teresa Collins. There is the Evergreen collection and also the Christmas Story collection papers that I've used. So that's where you can find those. These are all available at teresacollinsstudio.com, and the numbers are a set of die cuts that she has. Double check the numbers on the back to see how many packages you need, because you need a lot of 2s and 1s to make an album like this. So, okay, let's get started. In addition to the 2 sets of Christmas paper, I also used some clear papers, and the ones that I got are from the silver set. I also purchased some stickers, washi tape, and some other die cuts with these collections to give myself a little more variety in my album. So I used acetate here and put a sticker on this, which is actually just kind of a fun page. Then this one I consider kind of like the title page. One thing that I want to tell you about these December albums, I've been making them for quite a while, and I've used supplies from different vendors and things. But what I do is I strive as hard as I can to get the foundation pages with the numbers on them ready before December. So in December, what I'm going to do is I usually keep a notebook in my purse or on the counter. Right now we're going through the coronavirus times, and so we'll probably be home a lot more during the holidays than we were in the past. But I keep a little notebook so that I can write down some of the things that happened each day. I try to take quite a few pictures every day, and I know I'm making this album, so I do that. The pictures will be added, and the stories and journaling will be added during December. Now, you can do that every day if you want. You can print your photos at home. You can wait until the end of the month and then put them all in at one time. A lot of times I'll do a week at a time, and I use a Canon selfie printer usually to print my pictures, so I can do it at home. I also print my pictures at Costco sometimes. So that's how this is going to be done. So there aren't any pictures or any journaling in here. And I'll tell you how I take care of that and the logistics of that I do during December in a little bit. But okay, so this is the front page, and these are the little strips that Teresa puts along the bottom of her papers. She has a quote or something fun on there, and I thought it would be fun to include those and line them up so that you can see them through this fun silver sheet right here. I also really like mixing my metals, whether I'm wearing them or using them in my projects. So I have gold and silver. I think they all look fine together. And one idea I'm thinking of for here is that I like to put a Christmas card in one of the Christmas cards that we send out in the album. And so I can mount that right here. I just came up with that the other day. We typically do a photo of our family, so that's a fun thing to have when you open your album. And I think I'll put that here. haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do about that yet. But this is how the pages are going to look. I chose to use the die cut numbers from Teresa, and also these little die cut tags that it says December and the number of the day, and it's, you can't see it, but it says countdown to Christmas. And I thought that those would be really fun. It's a fun way to keep the theme of my book the same and have kind of like a little style of the book. The stamp here is this one here. It's a large date stamp. You could use a small date stamp, you know, kind of whatever you have. I've had this one for years. And so I like this project and doing it every year because I'll pull out some things that I have from working on previous projects and use them. Like I have these little paper clips here, and you'll see some other things in the book that I've pulled out of my stash at home. So it's a fun thing to do while you're waiting for your papers to arrive and your album. Go through and see if you already have some Christmas things at home that you could use. I'm sure you probably do, just like I do, because we all have a lot of crafts at home. Another thing that I used on a lot of my pages is this little card right here. And these are 3x4 little cardstock graph paper. And so I use these. I'll explain it to you as I go along, but I used a lot of these. I also have lined ones that I'm probably going to be using when I come back to this page and I put some pictures or a story. I might put a lined journaling card on there. I also kept all of the extras left over from my when I made this, like stickers that I didn't use, and I kept them all so that I can get them out during December and use them to decorate the rest of this page. So this isn't what the page will look like in the end. It's just what it looks like right now so that I can be ready for December. So I used a combination little stickers. Again, every page I stamped with a date. I just think that's a fun thing to do. And I used this little tag and the number. And then I used an arrangement of other little die cuts and cards from the two collections of Teresa's that I have. Like I showed you before, these pages were all cut 6x8 and punched to fit in here, and then I put them together. If you wanted, you could make an album like this with all the same papers on each page. That's just not my style. I like to mix and match a lot. And so for me, it was really fun to mix both of these collections together. Also, evergreen is green and black and white. And I typically use red when I decorate and everything for Christmas too. It's just really important to me to have some red in there. So I love the idea of using both of the collections. And here I added a little paper clip to the arrangement. So I'll just kind of flip through these, and when I come to one that has some things that are different, I'll show you. So, okay, here's page 6. This page is one of the clear papers, and it's silver hearts. So I talked about it a little bit before. When you use these pages, you have to think about what's going to be back here. And probably on this page, I'll put a picture behind it that you'll see, and I'll put a picture over here and some journaling about the 6th. I could also put a square picture here for the 6th and then put a square picture on the back for the 7th. It's just so you think about it. This little card here is mounted on the back. So I put the adhesive to do that underneath the washi and underneath the 6. So then, the other thing about stamping, these papers are a little bit different. Evergreen works with just a regular black pigment ink when you stamp on the paper, but the paper for A Christmas Story has a little bit more of a gloss to it. So I found that the pigment ink didn't dry quickly enough for me when I was working on my project. So I did go with the Stays On ink, which I use the black, and it is perfect for stamping on any of these items. One thing that you have to remember with Stays On, let me grab one and show you. When you use the Stays On ink for your stamps, this little plastic cover says do not discard, and you really don't want to. And you want to put this back on in between every stamp that you do while you're working on other things, because this ink dries out really quickly. It also has a really interesting smell. It smells like almonds to me. or like almond flavoring. But yeah, so that's the ink that I recommend for this project. Also, when you're stamping, everything is not going to be perfect. The stamps are just, this is not a perfect science in crafting. So don't worry if there's a little mistake. Think of a way that you could fix. You could just leave it, first of all, or you could just cover it up with something. I'll show you a couple places where I made a mistake and I fixed it. But you know, date stamps, like I used to work in a title company, and when we date stamp things, the stamp doesn't always come out as a perfect impression, and I'm totally fine with that. Like, this one isn't perfect, and I'm totally fine. So it just depends. If you really want your stamps to come out perfect every time, I would say do it on a journaling card like I did here, because if this one was wrong or I didn't switch the date, which is what happened on at least 2 of these pages in here, then you could just toss this and do another one, or you could flip it over and use the back. I did that also. So I just wanted you to know that's kind of how it goes. So this is what the back side of that looks like. I put the little 7 tag here right on the back of the 6 so that it's covered up, and then you can see Santa on this side. So don't be afraid to tear your washi on the end. Sometimes people cut it to be perfectly straight, and sometimes I do that, but a lot of times I like the tearing look. Just because everything's pretty organized on here, and I think that the tearing of the washi is a little bit of a contrast and looks nice on your page. So on this page, I added just a bunch of washi and stamped up here again on this, this evergreen paper is fine with the pigment ink. So if you're just using evergreen and no acetate, I would say pigment ink is just fine. But use the stays on if you're doing it the other way. So I also like things sticking out from my album, and I took some pictures of it just because I think that's really cool. So that's one of the things that I like to do. Don't be afraid to try something different. This is a perfect album to do that with, because you don't want every page to be the same anyway. And I would just look at the papers and see what inspired me, which is what I do on most projects. And then I would think, oh, what would look cool? What haven't I done yet? Because I like them to be different. So here is page 11. And on this one, I thought it was fun to stop the numbered washi tape right at the date that I was on. I think I did that a couple times. Yeah, so the pages are gonna be fun. Some of them, I did the date stamp on the cards, and I let that hang over the edge. Here I put a little gem that's star-shaped. I have a whole box of gems with adhesive on the back, and so I'll probably use some more of those as I put pictures in. And I pulled out the Christmas colors that matched that album. So I would pull out some stickers that had nice sayings. See, the stamp's not perfect, totally fine. Yeah, so 14, 15. Oh, this is one of my ones I messed up. I'm going to stand up and see if I can show you what I did. Okay, I'm pretty sure I said 14 instead of 15. So look at that. I took a piece of white paper, cut it out in the shape, and then I put it down on the ink stamp, and then, I'm sorry, the date stamp, and then I stuck it over the top. But when you're looking from here, and you're a person, when this page has pictures on it and other fun things, if we go to something, I'll put tickets on here. I have some little clear envelopes that were from the dollar spot at Target, probably a few years ago, but maybe they still have them, and maybe you have some little adhesive pockets. I can put that on a page and stick some things in it. So what I'm going to do is I will make another video during December that shows you what I'm putting on each page. Maybe I'll do it like once a week and show you what I did on those, just in case you need some inspiration. Let me know if you're interested in that too. So, all right, some of the tags, these little tags are cut out of Teresa's paper for the most part. All the ones with the Christmas themes are. And so I just use scissors to cut them out. I don't get out big cutter a lot. I cut these little date ones with scissors. I feel like they don't have to be totally perfect, you know, and a lot of the edges are getting covered up anyway. So yeah, so this one I added a little die cut. So here we go. Whoops. Here we are to 17. And I put a little clip on this one. Also, you know, I'm pretty sure that with all the places that say 17, no one's gonna forget what day this page is. So I don't mind covering up my numbers or covering up part of this tag or covering up some of the stamp, because there are a lot of ways here that you'll know that it's the 17th. So, you know, don't worry about that either. And I use the stamp a little different here. I actually just inked the December and stamped, and then I just inked the 18. And this tag was super cute, so I wanted to use it, but there wasn't any room for the 2020. And you're not going to forget in this album also that you're in 2020. So don't worry about that. You know, just try something different. I love baker's twine, and I have 2 whole racks of it. And so I pulled out the Christmas colors to keep with this album. So here we are on 19. Here's 20. 20 was one of my favorite ones. Just, I felt like this black paper just came up right here, and the 20th seemed really special in 2020. And so this is not glitter paper. What I did was I used one of these same graph paper cards that I've been using, and I covered it with some of Teresa's gold washi right here, and I just trimmed the ends. So it gives kind of a look like I have glitter paper in here when I don't. So that was fun. Then this was another fun page, because I found when I was searching through all of the pile of paper clips that I have, a lot of them are from planner conventions, that I had words for Christmas, joy and peace. I thought I had a third one, but I couldn't locate it. So this was kind of fun. I figured that I'm not sure what's going to happen on each of these days, so I also stayed away from some of the stickers that said what was happening. I don't know exactly what they are, but I saved those to put in so that the day that we put the decorations on our tree, I can put that one up. Or if we hung stockings, or if we went Christmas shopping or saw Santa, I could put those next to the pictures of doing that. So that's it. That was just kind of a little tip. Let's see. So here I stamped on the card. I kind of felt as I was going up in the numbers, trying to come up with something new was kind of challenging, but it was fun. And also, you could make them exactly the same. You could do exactly the same layout on every page, and that would be totally fine too. It just depends on what your style is. Now, here's another clear page. So on this one, I put the card mounted on the front, and this card, I have to stand up to make sure that it's in focus. This card is covered in washi, and I stamped the date stamp on the washi, and then I stuck the numbers on there. But when I flipped it over, since this is a 23rd, I thought, ooh, the 24th should be special. So what I did was I date stamped the 24th on these onto a clear card. This one is a star, clear star card. And I cut that out, and then I used a corner rounder, and it is a 3/8 inch quarter rounder, is one that matched my cards the best that I already had. So I covered this card with the Merry Christmas washi, and I mounted Santa on there. Then I took the numbers and I mounted them from the back, and I put the adhesive on the numbers right under where I was going to put these little stickers. So these pages with the clear take a little bit of extra thinking, but they can be super fun. And I thought, oh, it'd be fun to lift it up like Santa's watching you. And honestly, I did not plan this, but Santa's peeking out between the numbers. So I just thought that was funny. Because we know Santa's always watching. So I did, in our family, we growing up, we opened our presents on Christmas Eve and we got one present from Santa on Christmas Day. My husband's family always went to church on Christmas Eve, so they open all of their presents on Christmas Day. So we compromised and we do the little hide the pickle Christmas ornament, and the kids each get one package when they find the pickle present, we call it. And so we do that on Christmas Eve. A lot of times we have a fondue for dinner just because we have a little more time, and fondue takes a lot of time. But if you did more here, feel free to put extra pages in, and save some paper for later. I think I have 2 or 3 more pages if I needed to put something in because I wanted to include more pictures or more journaling on a certain day. So that one's the 24th. So this one is the 25th. And I added extra pages on the 25th or one extra page, because I know that we're going to be opening presents that day. And so then I could have a picture of each person. This one, Santa is a tag. He comes that way out of the package. I cut that off, the little ring off on the other one. But I put some stickers on the back. I put the tag here and a little stamp and a tag on this side. And I punched a hole through the clear paper. And I just put my number on here because it matches up really nicely with this page behind it. So Baker's Twine again. So I just thought it was funny to use a little tag that said no peeking, and I flipped it upside down so that you could see it on this page, and on the back I put the sticker and the stamp. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do here. I wasn't totally excited about being able to see the adhesive on the back of the numbers. This is what it looks like, in case you can see. Let me see if you can see that. You can't see it. See? When it gets really close, it has these little dots. So I'm not sure. I could put another 2 and a 5 on the back to cover it up. That could work. I could just leave it and not worry about it, because probably most people looking at this album wouldn't say, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But, as crafters, sometimes we think about things like that. I could also cover it up or put a picture here that faced through the front and a picture on the back so you could see it on both sides. I put another card over here just for a little bit more on the 25th. Maybe we want to take a picture of having dinner, something like that. Here's the 26th, back to kind of normal. I figured these are to and from, and are kind of like tags, which is, holiday-ish. I wasn't totally excited about that part, and I may end up putting a picture to cover some of that, and maybe like a journal card or something, or a little sticker just to cover that. I don't know. I'm going to worry about that later. Here is the 27th. This is the first page that I did this on, but I had this thought. I really wanted to put the washi all across here and have it end on 27. This one, it's funny. I also stamped 26 on this because I forgot to turn the page again, like I did before. I took a piece of this striped paper because when you cut these, there's a strip left after you cut the pages. So I saved that and I just matched it up here and stamped a 7 on there. So I could have also taken one of my graph cards and stamped it and covered that up. So, or I could just deal with it and cross it out and say whatever. But I'm a little more perfectionist than that. Some things I let go, some things I don't. We all have our special things. But yeah, so it ends on the 27th, and that just went across both pages. I thought that was a fun way to do that. This one is the only one that I have with the tag sticking all the way over here. And how I did this was I stamped on this side and I put a strip of my skinny score tape just on this first row so that it's here. And this is funny. If you look at it really close, you can see this is one I messed up and a date on, and I just covered it up with washi, and then I used my corner rounder. So, but you can't really tell. No one will notice. This one I thought was fun, this diagonal stripe. So I put some washi on it, and I also put the numbers on here diagonally, and the 2020s covered up, but no big deal. Then the 30th, this green plaid is just my favorite paper. I love that. And then on the 31st, this is another night where we usually stay home and do some fun things at home. Sometimes one of the kids has someone come spend the night. Probably won't be doing that this year. Sometimes we go to friends who live nearby and celebrate. I'm not sure if we'll be doing that. But I wanted to, include some more festive kind of New Year's type, not red and green on this page. So I used the washi, and then I put in 2 acetate or 2 clear pages with the stars and then with the stripes. And this, if you subscribe to Teresa's empowerment box, you probably got this sequin star. And honestly, I have no idea where I got this. Might have been from a Teresa box too, but I don't think so. It's a large paper clip that I keep wondering what to do with, and it's shaped like a star. And I just thought, oh gosh, it goes awesome right here. If you want to know where we got those, I could try and search. I'm not sure. You might want to search on Amazon or on Etsy and see if someone has something like that. But I thought that was fun, and it sticks. I wanted it to stick way out. I'll show you the book closed up so you can see what it looks like. This little, it's a folder, and it is from one of Teresa's sets. It comes with like 3 little folders, and I thought it would be really fun. I really wanted to use it because of the stars, and this page had stars, and it's gold, so it just went with everything. I like it on the silver, and I think I'll just open it up and put the journaling from New Year's Eve in there, or maybe everyone's wishes for 2021. I mean, my 13-year-old should be wishing to go back to school by New Year's. But okay, so I'm going to show you one more time what it looks like when it's all stacked up. Of course, you can change and do these things any way you want. I'm always loving to talk to people about ideas for these if you want to chat. So this is what the book looks like. So you can see, I have to stand up so I can check in my phone and see the little things that stick out on the side and a little bit on the top. I'll probably also use some more ribbon in this book. A few stick out on the bottom. I kind of forgot about having them stick out on the bottom. So, all right. That is my 2021 December album. I did want to show you one more thing while we're here. And since you've been watching for this long anyway, that I have a tray from IKEA, and I unpacked it because it was being used for something else, and thought that I would use it to keep my December album supplies in. This is one of the trays that fits inside the Rascog cart. So I have adhesive, my tape, mega runner, the leftover stickers that I didn't, the ones that didn't get used, so that I can customize my pages a little bit more when I put the pictures on it. This is all the die cuts. I have the journaling cards in here. I'll probably put a pen or 2 in here. These are the little stars that I used. And I have some other rhinestones that I'll grab to put in here. I have a block. I'll probably put my baby wipes, how I clean off my stamps in here. And this is Teresa's evergreen stamps. And, here's the extra pages that I was talking about. So I came out with some extra pages. I don't know if I'll use this paper to make some more fun things. I also have clear, and I have a couple other little papers that I didn't use. So I'm going to keep those because I would like to do some fold outs and fun little things, maybe an envelope or something on my pages as I make them. So I'll keep those so that I can easily do that. So that is all going to be done during December, and I will come back and I'll make some videos to show you what I've done when the book is all the way finished. And if you want to see some of the pages as I go to get some more ideas, let me know about that. And I hope you liked this very long video, but I think that it should give you some ideas for setting up your December album using Teresa Collins Christmas collections. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe to my channel and leave me some comments and let me know what you think. I am totally open to ideas for future videos. Thank you. Bye.